People that listen to our podcast, you know what they want to hear? They want to hear 4 fucking grizzly bears getting down on some bullshit. That's what they want to hear. Welcome to the Drivers Project podcast, featuring hosts Dominic Scelzi, J.J.Hickle, Sam Hafertepe Jr., and myself, Daryl Turford. The Drivers Project podcast is brought to you by Kaiser Aluminum Wheels. Be wiser, buy Kaiser.
We're back with another Drivers Project podcast, and we got Sam, Dom, and JJ with us. But another guy we've added is a guy, probably the guy we've had most requested since we started doing the podcast or TV show or whatever you want to call this, and Danny Dietrich. Danny, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight, man?
Not too shabby at all. What have you been up to lately?
Well, I decided to take a weekend off of racing, and we decided to not go to Charlotte again. And I went to the beach for a few days and enjoyed myself, and had quite a few margaritas and old fashions and a little bit of everything, and just did some gambling and relaxing.
JJ, Dom, you guys haven't really been racing. What have you guys been up to? I'll start with you, JJ.
Just been kind of getting everything winterized and ready, just sort of ready for the off season and gearing up for that. And then I just got a call here a couple days ago, and I'm going to head out to Vado for a couple days and run a 360 out there for 2 nights with Barry Martinez and the Wing Down guys. So that'll be fun, and looking forward to getting 2 more nights in and being in some warm weather for a couple of days.
Dom, what have you been up to?
Man, it's been crazy for me over the last few weeks. I mean, I've never been more ready for off season, mostly because I sucked ass all year, but just been so busy at work, and like it's such a blessing. Like we've been really picking up a lot of pace, in the office, and that's exciting. Like I've got a lot of new customers that I'm working with right now, and actually tomorrow morning, our office manager and myself are headed down to Southern California to meet with one of our longtime customers. So been incredibly busy. Actually, Sam got me 2 new customers from the podcast. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Shout out to El Toro. It's just kind of exciting that I feel like, my mom has put her heart and soul into our family business for 28 years, and I've been here for 3 now, and I'm starting to see kind of the fruits of the labor. So it's really cool to start seeing some traction and seeing the busyness that we're starting to see. So it's exciting. Hours are starting to get a little crazy, but I'm loving every second of it.
Sam, you and I actually did some racing this past week at TMS. Can you tell people how that went?
Friday night, it didn't go. We went out on the track, and they decided to qualify us while there's a lot of slop on the racetrack, and we were 3rd after 12 cars and ended up 20th quick after it was all said and done. And I didn't really feel like starting in the back of all that, and I thought the decisions they made were pretty poor decisions. So said we loaded up and went on home, and came back out the next night. I think we qualified 7th, which was pretty mediocre. Went 3rd to 1st in the heat, which was good. Put a starting 3rd in the feature, and really just made some bad decisions with the race car, and really just had a lot of wheel spin. Couldn't get going very good. We're probably going to run 3rd or 4th, and I got pretty tight, got in the wall off of 3 or 4 there, and we lost a bunch of spots and ended up running 8th. But it's my birthday on Saturday too, so it was cool to see, my family and a lot of the friends out there celebrating with me too. So weekend turned out to be okay.
So about the only other place running sprint cars that was major was World Finals, and pretty much everyone's eyes were on it. Night 1, we got what probably everyone is waiting for, which is a showdown between the high limit point champion and the World of Outlaw champion, Enrico Abreu and David Gravel. I think from the interview last week, you could really tell that Gravel really, really wants to prove that he's the best, and that was a great chance for him to show it. Danny ended up coming up a little short there against Rico. Did you have any observations from night 1 at Charlotte or anything that jumped out at you?
Yeah, I mean, they're both fast. Let's be real. I mean, you got the 2 best crew chiefs, the best 2 drivers going at each other. and it kind of showed the following night, there they are again. So, I still think David's probably got a little bit of the upper hand for sure. I think his program's just better. He doesn't have to race. Doesn't seem like he has to race very hard a lot of times. Like he's not full send mode. Like Rico gets in a full send mode, or a lot of your buddy will get in full send mode. Like almost like David can race so aggressive yet be so like still. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's pretty wild to fucking watch. I wish I could drive a race car for one time.
That was our observation after he described his car at no, it was Tim's after he described his car at Knoxville. Just getting an easy race car to drive makes a driver look so much more calculated and so much more intelligent and calm.
Yeah, for sure.
JJ, did you have any takeaways from the first night at Charlotte?
I mean, nothing huge. I thought it was really entertaining to see those kind of guys end up at the top there and like the cream rise to the top and go mano a mano. But I didn't think it was a super exciting race as far as for the lead went, but there was a lot of big movers and shakers, and I thought the track was spot on, man. I thought it was really good racing all weekend, but night one, there's big runs through the field. I thought Corey Day, he deserves an honorable mention for sure to make as much ground as he did, which was, is pretty expected with him but at the same time, God dang, it's still so awesome to watch him rip through the field like that. So yeah, I thought the track was the surprise.
I think the biggest surprise is it's Charlotte, right? Don't we all agree? Like
the track was good. Yeah, exactly. Racing. That was surprise number one.
That was going to be my question. That was going to be my question for Dom is, Dom, it looked like it was pretty dusty, but is that the best Charlotte you remember in a long time?
Absolutely. I've raced there a handful of times for the World Finals, and man, a lot of times it's pretty shitty. But I do remember the last time I went, Mike Hess threw a yellow like every 4 or 5 laps because they couldn't see us up in the booth. And I remember I was running 15th or 16th. I could not see the fucking car in front of me. It was insane. So they've come a long ways. I thought 3 great nights of racing. I think Rico and Gravel showed they're the 2 best in the game. It was pretty good.
Sam, did you have any additional thoughts on Charlotte?
Well, after watching the races the week before with the fender cars, I was not expecting them to get that place laid down near the way that they did. And maybe it was one of those deals where they were just trying to get a lot of moisture deep so that the track would last the next week. And maybe that's what their plan was. But whatever their plan was, they executed it very well. And I don't think people realize how hard it is to prepare a track for 3 different types of race cars that all want a different type of track condition. So hats off to those guys to make a good track for late models, dirt mods, and sprint cars. That's a pretty tough feat in itself to get all 3 divisions to have a decent racetrack to race on. And I think, I think the other 2 classes of cars can make a race out of a shitty racetrack to us, but we can't make a race out of those type of racetracks for our race cars. And for them to get all 3 classes to have pretty solid races, it speaks volumes. And I'm glad to see it happen. And maybe it'll kind of liven that deal back up to where it get back up to 60 cars going to it.
Dude, how fucking terrible was the racetrack for that race the week before? Did you guys see that? Dude, it looked like a race in California.
It looked like an AI racetrack.
It was gnarly.
It was insane. So Gravel obviously got revenge on night 2. And then night 3, Kofoid took the win. But one guy who really stood out to me lately, we talked on a previous podcast about how there's been a lot of driver and ride swaps, but no driver really lighting it up. All of them kind of seem to be a little disappointing. But Danny, I guess I'll ask you first. Is Spencer Baston the guy who has taken his stock from the lowest point and raised it since getting into new rides?
I don't know. Like, for the last 3 years, I didn't think Spencer really was worth a kick. I really thought his stock was like probably the lowest he's ever been. and to get into the W Works car, whatever it's called, the Silva car, and go out there and be fast. It was like, where the hell did he come from? You know what I mean? Like, there's the guys up on the wheel.
Yeah.
Maybe the car is a problem. Like, I don't know. I know Noisy and them, like, Noisy's a pretty smart guy. Obviously, he's got Corey Day ripping. But, like, why couldn't Spencer get going in the 14? I guess he had 2 top 5s on the weekend, maybe.
Yeah.
I think somebody said.
Yeah, he's pretty fast.
That's pretty solid getting in a new car. So, like, I don't want to say, well, maybe the problem was Sheldon or maybe the problem was the Ripper. I mean, I'm friends with them guys. Maybe it's just new life too. You know what I mean? Like, I would have to say it's got to be new life, or, I'm wearing a Penske shirt, so maybe it's the Penske shot. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty wild to see that car get fast over the weekend. But listen, it's Charlotte. We all been to Charlotte. Anything could happen. It's all next year. We can go to Volusia and they run 15th every night and look like me on the racetrack, and you say they got nowhere. You know what I mean? Like Charlotte. We've seen a lot of guys. I mean, no different. Spencer can go to Knoxville and be fast as well. For some reason, Spencer's pretty good at Knoxville. Maybe it's a fluke too. Who knows?
Dom, you raced a lot with Spencer firsthand when he started getting into these rides. Do you notice anything different in his driving?
I really don't. I think Spencer, honestly, is one of those guys, probably similar to me. If he's comfortable, he's going to be good. If he's not comfortable, he's not even going to be, and also ran. And I think we've seen that. Like, the 14 car, I think, is all good shit, and it obviously wins. But then, like, you put Trey Starks in it, and he had 1 good night and 2 bad nights. Sanders, who is lights out the 87 and the 2, was very average in it. Spencer was average in it. Like, it's just a comfortability thing. I really believe that. And I think with, like, the sport anymore, genuinely the days of just carrying a car and willing a car to the win, I think, are over. I think that so many guys work so hard that if your shit ain't comfortable for you and you're not rolling the right direction, you're just not going to be successful.
JJ, Sam, do either of you have anything to add on Baston?
I mean,
I've always thought he was, like, how I think there's a lot of guys that are good enough to do this and do it on a successful level. I think it's all about how you get paired with a group of guys. And I think Danny's right, like, new life means a shit ton in this sport. Like, look at the 26 at the beginning of the year with Peck, and then look how they finished. Like, I think that's huge. Like, I think you come out of the box, oh man, we got Peck, we're going to be a lot better. The grass is greener. Peck's like, oh man, I'm in a new car. Like, this is going to be a good deal for me. So they're all high on each other, and they go down to Florida, and they look pretty decent, and they have a pretty.
Dude, they kicked our ass.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about being decent. Like, in the 360, they whooped our fucking ass.
And they honestly had months where they looked really good, and that faded away throughout the years. So I think Danny's definitely right about when you get swapped over to stuff like that, it's like a shot in the arm. So, like, I think at the end of the day, man, it's badass having a producer on this show. You know that?
Yes, it is.
But
so much better.
This
is fucking awesome.
I do really think that if you look at it, and from this perspective of, man, I'm in a new ride, new me, new team, everybody's all excited about the opportunities they're getting. And obviously it shows up. Like, you got to think, a lot of these guys are getting to the end of the year and going, man, all right, we got 1 fucking race left. Let's get through the weekend and go to the banquet and get drunk. That's what a lot of guys are thinking. And then this team, they're just getting started. So I think coming into Charlotte was definitely good for them, and it'll probably bode well for them going down to Florida to start the year off. But I think it's going to take a few months to figure out, where these guys are really at.
I mean, I
JJ,
just
do
think
you have
for,
anything to add?
people that don't really understand, it's just like any major sporting team. Like, you can have 3 or 4 really good players or 2 or 3 elite guys, but if they don't mesh together and if they don't work together well, it doesn't just mean you're going to win races. So it's just, there's a lot more that goes into the team dynamic, like going up and down the road, than just, having a good crew chief and a good driver and good equipment. Everybody has to get along, and it really does have to mesh like a team. You got to have guys running the 3-man weave.
So this is a topic I've railed on, but I think it got brought to the forefront this weekend. I don't know your guys' opinions, and I really don't know Danny's, but we saw at least two crashes on double file restarts just trying to take off. Guys are jumping it like crazy. Is it time to get rid of the double file restarts? I don't even know. Do you guys all like them, or what do you think? I'll start with Danny first.
I think it's time to get rid of them. Our shit's too expensive. If you go on a good racetrack, you're going to create good racing anyway, especially with a dirty air that we got now. I mean, like, you can make shit happen on the starts. I do agree with that, but there's so many jackasses on these starts that are willing to do what Cale Thomas did on Saturday, that it just needs to go. It just needs to go away. Like, if you got a good racetrack, it ain't gonna matter. You go to a short track, you go single file. I mean, maybe the fans look at it, okay, you don't get double file, but the leader's gonna hit lap traffic better. Let's face it, like, our cars need lap traffic to make a good race a lot of times anymore. Like, everybody's so good. You get clean air. It's just too important. And I get pissed off just seeing that the other night. I mean, I'm not upset because one of the cars, probably needed crash for all the shit they do to other people when it starts. But, it is what it is. Like, it just, they do it all the time. I guess they nailed Wyndham for it a couple restarts before the restart before. And, I like Chris and I like Sides, but he's terrible at it too. I mean, I don't understand. I guess it's just a different type of racing. I guess it's a way of being raised when you were starting out racing, that you had to take care of your equipment, and, like, you can't until the fucking green comes out. I jump. I'm the one who loves to go early, but I'm not going to go that early and junk my stuff and junk other people's stuff. That's for sure.
Is there anyone here that likes double file restarts? Like, even when they brought them in, I don't remember a single driver being like, you know what?
No.
We need double file restarts. And I've never heard a driver actually say they love them at a
Don't
high
love
level.
them, but would prefer the choose cone. If you had to have them, the choose cone makes it better.
I personally,
you got to say it, Dom.
That is very true.
Hey, I told Carlton in the trailer after the deal Babs that if they're going to do double files, at least give a choose cone. I said the one thing I like is a choose cone, because at least like Babs that night, I'm stuck on the bottom every fucking restart, trapped in there. And next thing you know, like, the guys behind me are just driving underneath me, and they're moving you in the middle of the racetrack. What are you doing? You're in the middle. You're 3 wide in the middle. You're in the cocksucker spot. You know what I mean? Like, you're done. And that part needs, like, I don't know, Sam, did you race when 410 took the cone on the backstretch, took the green with the cone on the backstretch at all?
No, I never did that.
It's always been on the front stretch?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that, honestly, I wouldn't mind going back to, I raced a few times with the cone on the backstretch. And, like, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty badass, because you can kind of make something happen. Like, you actually kind of got like an extra quarter of a lap of racing, and you could make something happen past that cone in 3 and 4. I mean, you weren't going very fast. So you can get to the corner and be like, okay, I'm going to the top to build a run, or you can kind of slide a guy. That is better.
Yeah, Skagit actually does that, but I think Dom and JJ would agree with me where Skagit screws it up is they give you they have the wall painted on the backstretch, and you can only go in that section. And I think Dom and JJ would agree with me. They got that too short, and it's too predictable on restarts. Is that fair to say?
I think that it's just why I don't think it works on the short track stuff is so many times it's a lot easier as the leader. Like, you just go green at the cone, and you drive right across, so you block the slider and you block the top line, and it's just almost like a wasted opportunity. Like, you can't really do anything with it. I think on the bigger tracks it's awesome, but like for these short
I'm going to the bottom every time. You
Yeah.
do that, I'm going to the bottom every time.
Well, and the problem is like a lot of times at Skagit, that's what you do. Like, you bury the bottom, but if the guy floats across it and gets the curb, he's still going to come off better. Like, you can never clear a guy on the bottom or rip around a guy, like, and it creates animosity like off of 4. But I wish, honestly, that they would put it 30 feet farther back, because I think it would fix the
Yeah, and
problem.
I never raced there with it, Daryl, so I really don't know. I watch it a lot. The only thing I don't like is you got to go a lap and a half to get your pass to count. Like, if you pass a guy on the restart, it's got to go a full lap and a half. But
Yeah, how would it? Even with
So, like, why don't we do this? Like, you know, with all these problems you got, like, I never understood why we don't do like no cone. Forget the cone, right? But you gotta be, you know, in your positioning going past the flag stand scoring loop.
Yeah,
And, like,
they've done that at East Bay, and for the 360 deal, it has been a fucking shit
I've gotten
show
screwed
every
on that
time.
deal too.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
it's been, but I think if you have the right people policing it, then it's probably fine. But obviously at that place, there wasn't a lot of policing of anything. So,
Dude, at the end of the day, it all comes down to racers, and racers are going to run like fucking assholes, and starts are going to be fucked up because of it. Like, you know, I think the single file thing, no matter how you do it, I like it better. You know, I like the double file shit when I'm starting 20th, because I feel like I can make stuff happen, or guys make dumb moves and I can get by them.
And you're gonna jump the start.
Absolutely. No, but like, I think guys do so much dumb shit. Like, the single file thing is so much easier to police. And I agree with you, Danny. Get us into lap traffic in 5 laps, not 10. Like, we need to be getting into traffic right away, because clean air is everything.
Yeah.
Here's a perfect example. Guy slides himself, you run the bottom, you can never really clear the guy. That's almost how every start works.
But is that really that bad though?
Well, honestly, I think that's
I
better
don't
'cause
mind it.
it's wide, but dude, I'm telling you right now, once you get past like the first 2 cars, it's almost impossible to make anything happen. I think that you'd fix that if you just move the cone back 20 foot. Give us a little more straightaway.
Yeah, like a coming off a 2 type deal instead of.
I just like
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
So
do
with
think
what
that would
you're
be
s-
better.
Just
Because
for the
then,
small tracks.
well, and then the guy has to anticipate what you're going to
So
do.
we
'cause
race
you've
with a
already got the
series here
speed
in the
built up,
Midwest, the
you know
Sprint
what I'm saying?
Invaders. They do a cone coming out of 4. Once, no matter what, on the restarts, whatever, once you go green and you pass that cone, it's the race is on. And it's just like what you guys are saying, except for traditional, like coming out of 4 standard. And it's a pretty solid way to do it. I like it.
So
You guys,
I think you could do away with even double file. Like, even if you took the double file now and just made it single
Exactly.
file.
No
When the leader
cone.
goes,
Just let her go.
fucking game on. You know what I mean? Like, single file is still better than double file. Even the same situation you got now, just go single. At least you're not 3 wide and you're screwed and you got one guy bouncing into another like you did in Charlotte. Like, I mean, they do what you're talking about, JJ, at Hagerstown Speedway because
Budget cuts.
they don't have a cone. Like, so, like,
Yeah.
you just get to the opening off a 4 and it was game on. Doesn't matter if
Yeah, I
you're
like
20th
it.
or first. Like, but with single file, never an issue.
Yeah. Agree.
So we were talking about how people are foolish in making announcements at PRI, and 2 teams actually jumped the gun too. We had, for the first one we had was Ashton Torgerson and Shark Racing have announced that they are going with the World of Outlaws next year. Danny, how do you think they're going to do a full year on the Outlaw Tour?
You know, I don't know. I don't think like I don't want to sit here and say like I know their program, but I just don't feel like the 1A is set up to run an outlaw style schedule. Like, and I don't mean by any means do I mean like motor wise or car wise. I'm saying like I feel like they're always having like truck issues or trailer issues or, and I don't mean like always, but like when they're on the road, there was always felt like it was something. Or maybe it was Jake with motorhome. I don't know, but like I just think it's a grueling schedule. When you think about how much it go back and forth across the country, even what we already know about next year and the schedule that's down for the World of Outlaws, like, I think to myself, Jacob got wore out driving a race car. Like, now you got somebody in the car that I think is way more aggressive. Like, you're going to need to have, I feel like, more spares and fit in the trailer. And I just wonder if they're set up. Like, I hope they are. Like, I like Jacob. I just wonder how well they'll do going up and down the road like that.
Yeah, Jacob's like the nicest guy in the world. And our pod today successfully got like the two people that have ever had spats with them in public, and Dom's brother and Danny with his top wing. So good.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get along with Jacob, but like, I know how Bobby is. Like, let's face it, we all know how Bobby raced. It's like Sam said about East Bay. Like, what do they police? You know what I mean? That's like was how Bobby's mentality was, as how I looked at it growing up. Like, Bobby did what he had to do to win. So like, can't knock the guy, can't knock the race team, whatever, until I race against them. So like, I just think that them guys, I think they'll do okay. But it goes back to like Jacob sold his motorhome. I'm like 99% positive he sold his motorhome. It's like, okay, well, what's he gonna do with Hannah and the newborn, or the baby? Like, wouldn't you want to have a motorhome, like, to go up and down the road and like that?
I don't know how you do it successfully and not have a motorhome, like where he's at, and like,
Can't afford a hotel.
yeah, like you can't go leave your kids or your kid and your wife to go do this thing. I mean, he's so family oriented. I mean, I don't know how you're successful without having them.
Well, let's face it, the emergence of t-shirt trailers has basically been because a pile of people needed to bring their wives or girlfriends, or shit was going to hit the fan. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but like, you never know what's the deal with the t-shirt trailer. Is that Ashton's deal? Is it part of Shark Racing's deal? Like, what's in the I would say every contract's different. So like, I think there's still a t-shirt trailer sitting down at Bobby's old shop. But like, who knows? Like, where, like, yeah, how do you do it and live in a hotel with your family?
JJ, we saw them run pretty good at Knoxville. They didn't quite crack the Nationals A main. What did you see when you saw them run together at Knoxville, and how do you think they're going to run?
I've actually been pretty impressed, man. I think they have a lot of pace, and I don't know how many big time rookies. I feel like this is probably going to be a little bit of a lull year for the Outlaws, having a ton of good rookies. So like, man, I feel like he's got to be, depending on what happens here, he's got to be one of the rookie contenders. That's going to be one of the guys that'll probably make some noise. Like, I see him to make dashes, and on certain types of racetrack, those guys will compete for a win or two. I just think that Jacob gets his car to where it's so fast on certain types of surfaces, and they take big swings a lot. And whenever they are good, Ashton showed that he's very capable of getting the job done, and the kid's only going to get better with a ton of experience. So when they hit on the places that work for their program, I think they're going to be tough. Yeah.
Dom, Sam, you.
So anytime, any half mile, that place is like, I don't know if any of you guys have watched it, but like, you can watch it go down the straightaways. And I stood on top of my trailer and looked at Jake, my crew guy, at Wayne Grove, and said, dude, that thing's doing like 10-mile-an-hour Patrick. Everybody else down the straightaway. Everybody.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
Yeah, like, I think if they go to the right racetracks, like, say they get rained out at all the right racetracks, I think they'll have a good year. But I think if you take them to the quarter miles, the third miles, and it's not slick, I feel like they would be in trouble with what they've shown as their package.
Well, and like, really, every time they went to Eldora, they were super fast, but it seemed like every time they went somewhere that was wide and slick, they were fast. And honestly, like, I've raced with Ashton a little bit. I think he's a super talented driver, but that's never really been his thing out here.
Right.
Like in California, he always seemed to do better when there was a big curb or a lot of grip. So to jump into something like that and then be badass right off the gate, like, to me, that's telling you got a pretty balanced race car at big tracks and at slick tracks.
Sam, do you have anything to add on the Torgerson Allen combination?
I think that, the dynamic that he brings as a driver could bode well for them. Like it maybe some of the places that Jacob was maybe weaker at, right? Like maybe him being a more aggressive younger guy maybe could kind of bridge the gap that Jacob had back when he was running with the Outlaws, and some of maybe his weaknesses maybe Ashton can make up for, and then maybe Jacob can help him on the bigger tracks and kind of get it all sorted. I think the race car itself is elite in certain circumstances. And I think to have that advantage coming onto the Outlaw Tour, to already have that advantage to have a car that's elite in a lot of certain situations, really is a good thing. Most guys, when they come around the Outlaw deal, they don't have a surface that they're good at. They don't have a certain, and that 1A car has been notably been really fast in a lot of really big time situations. Like there was, I don't know, a handful of years I thought where Jacob came through the Nationals pretty good. Like we've seen him at Eldora, like we were saying earlier. So like I think even if Torgerson isn't, maybe finesse enough for those situations, I think he's going to make up a lot for it on the shorter tracks and probably be able to help him out there.
The other deal that got announced, we don't have the full details on it now, is that Kerry Madsen and Ty Wolfgang are going to take the 55, and they're going on a national tour, but they haven't specified which. So the first question I'll ask all of you, I'll start with Danny. Should they go World of Outlaws or should they go High Limit for their situation?
I would say with Wolfgang knowing some of these racetracks, I would say World of Outlaws. Not to mention, I don't know if any of you guys have looked at the high limit schedule and how much it goes back and forth the fucking country. But like, who the hell would want to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, like it goes like Pennsylvania to California twice.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty gnarly, like I just feel like them being based in Iowa, I think they by the looks of it, I think they're based in Iowa if I'm
Yes,
correct.
as far as we know, yeah.
Yeah, so like I feel like Outlaws would just make more sense to run.
Does anyone think he should go High Limit instead?
I think his racing style probably suits High Limit better. But
I think High Limit
still
would make
think the
sense if
Outlaws
Kerry
would be the better
Madsen was
situation for them.
35 years old and he could get a charter and maintain it and just, make a ton of money doing it that way. But, not like Kerry's, who knows? He's probably going to race till he's 70. He's still got a ton of pace. He's still as badass as ever, but he's not young. And, you kind of would make sense for a guy like that to veer away from a deal that's a big charter. You got to earn it for 2 years to even start really paying the dividends.
Well, and
So like
another thing to think about is they've got that Montana date. So a lot of guys are going farther west in the middle of the year than ever before with the incentive of going to Dirt Cup. And if you do that, that's another like 800 miles, something like that you're going west for a weekend and then trekking back from there all the way to Fremont, Ohio. So
hey, let's just think about this when you're explaining that, there, Dom, that team's from Iowa. High Limit doesn't go to Knoxville.
Yeah.
They spent how much time in Knoxville at 55 team last year, almost the whole season. You got 3 weekends at Knoxville, basically. You got Houston for the World of Outlaws. And outside of Fort Royal and that, I'm going to call it the 2-week ski there for High Limit. So like Fort Royal, and that's like 2-week ski, pretty much half the schedule. And I don't feel like Fort Royal fits Terry's like go-to track.
yeah, no, I agree. Like, I mean, I think that like I'd love to see a per mile on both of them, like what it looks like from start to finish, how many miles they're going to be doing. But I mean, to me, it seems like a very aggressive schedule for High Limit. And, I mean, they're running 66 dates, but you have to think their off weekends are all for big races. Either you're going to Huset's or Skagit, You're going to run the Knoxville Nationals, Kings Royal. I mean, you're running all your off weekends, so you're fucking racing a shitload too.
Yeah, and Sam, you and I used to do the Gold Cup back to Iowa with the Outlaws. Can you kind of explain to people what that drive is, like what that entails?
I think we did it probably 2-3 times maybe. But legally, like if you had one truck driver, legally, you can't do it. You can't make it, and like I remember years ago we had these discussions with Carlton, and it was one of those deals where you could make it, but you'd be pulling in on Tuesday to Clay County or whatever the case. And, that's not washing. That's not, that's not doing maintenance. That's nothing. So, and then the drive they make from Washington to Port Royal. Oh my gosh. Like that to me, that's insane. Like, it's almost like somebody should have shit ready for them out there when they get there. That's to me, I don't know. Like that's when they've showed that, like, dude, I'm all for High Limit they made the Outlaws better. They've made both series are paying better. Like, I'm all for it. But I'm not for some of those type of things. Yeah, the owners are doing it because the owners that are involved with High Limit are all about, something other than the Outlaws, and that's totally fine. Everybody has their own deal. But at the same time, like, man, these guys going that far, like that's incredible. Like, and the only thing that really is enticing to me with the High Limit schedule is the amount of money they do pay out. So you don't have to run as many races to get that kind of money. So that's a good side. But if we're driving 40 something hours from Washington to Port Royal, and then we have another swing out to California, like that's tough on teams, man. It's really tough.
And from a transportation side of that, that's a 12-hour drive, which is your max, for 4 days in a row to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that's hard on a full-time truck driver, let alone guy.
Sure.
When you're parked, you're gonna have to service the car on that trip. I mean, and every driver and team I've talked to, that is the number one trip that they're like, man, it is gruesome. Because really,
yeah, like you're coming to Pennsylvania, like not like trying to say we're the best, but like it's not like you're not gonna go race.
Yeah.
I don't know, Wisconsin or you know what I mean.
you're not going to Colorado.
Right, like yeah, like you're gonna come to Pennsylvania and you're gonna race against like Lance Deweese and Anthony Macri. Like there's gonna be a lot of them High Limit cars like last year that don't even make the fucking show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell Week.
Hey, so I did that. Bring that up on my Twitter. I did that. I posted it because I said, and here's the deal: if you really want to do that, there's only one day between all them races, and the only thing I left out was the to be determined. It's a shit ton of miles.
Yeah.
It's all over the country, and it's like 6 hours between tracks.
Yeah, Sam and I are familiar with a lot of those tracks. Danny, that just brings me up to a question that I didn't really have set up, but I'm going to ask it. You do a lot of crazy drives. What's the most psycho drive you've done?
No.
Probably no. Well, yeah. That's probably Peebly to Babs or the from the Dream Race at Port Royal to the Capitani at Knoxville. Pretty brutal.
And how do you knock those out, and how long did they take roughly?
The one from I-55 to Babs, I think we did it in like 12 and a half hours. I think it was like 12 and a half hours with stopping at a hotel and getting a shower, the hotel we were in the night before. The one from yeah, that's the one I posted. So the other one that was tough was going from Port Royal to Dream Racing. Used to be on the Saturday night before the Capitani Classic. We would leave there and go to Knoxville. Like this year, we did Sharon to Knoxville overnight for the Cappy. I mean, I mean, let's be real, they're all hard. Like, we left Sharon and went to Knoxville this year, and I think it was 13 hours, 12, 13 hours, and like we only got 2 people per vehicle, and we rolled into Knoxville, I think at like 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Sharon got done a good time, but like, what do you do then? Like, you're still tired, still can't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that
Like-
that basically matches mine and Sam's worst. We were at Charlotte in the May show, and because of rain, they made us run Tri-City, PA the next night. And I believe that was a 12.5-hour drive, Sam. And
Yeah,
I think
it was bad.
we
real
rolled in
bad.
it. Yeah, I think we got there at like 9:30 or 10. And same thing as Danny said, like, what do you do? Like, you're dead.
Can't even sleep.
Yeah, you're not going to bed.
No. Like, and the worst part is, like, you're driving down, like, for us leaving Sharon this past year to go out there, we're going out 80, then you're on 90, then you're on, like, God only knows whatever route you're on to get through Gary. Like,
Yeah.
dude, once you hit Indiana, I don't care what road you're on in Indiana.
No, you're not sleeping.
You can take sleeping right out of the schedule. It don't matter where you're at in the rig, you're done.
Yeah.
There's no sleeping.
We've broken like 4 shocks in Indiana on our toter home driving through there. It's brutal.
I remember always thinking we were crashing. I'd be sleeping, coming back from Knoxville back to Indy, and like I could tell when we got into Indiana, it'd be like wham, wham. You'd like, what did we just hit? It never would fail, dude. Like every fucking time.
Daryl also ripped a brake chamber off of a trailer in Indiana as well.
I did that as well. It was awesome. Great times. JJ.
When we left Peebly this year, I was planning to drive like the first 2.5 hours, right? 3 hours. I was going to get us on the road, and then I'm going to climb in and sleep until PA line.
Yeah.
Dude, I slept the first hour, and then I instantly knew where we were at, and I was fucked from there on, and I was so tired. We got the bad. It was so bad.
Dom, JJ, have you guys done any psycho drives?
The craziest one we ever did was we ran with the Outlaws in Grand Forks, and it was like 100% chance of rain in Fargo. So we drove to Jackson, which was, I think, 5.5 hours. Swap motors, ran 360s on Saturday night, and then that night we stayed in we drove all night. So we went from Grand Forks to Jackson. I slept the whole way. The guys drove. I got up, pulled the engine, got everything serviced, and then I slept while they got up. We raced that night, and then they drove all night to where did we go? The Missouri State Fair, Sedalia, Missouri, which was like a 9-hour drive in fucking thunderstorms the entire way. And then we raced that next night. So we ran Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we turned around and went to Houston's for like a Tuesday race. It was insane.
Hey, I can tell everyone here what probably one of the dumbest races we've all gone to, I think. And that was COVID year going to Knoxville for no fans.
Yeah.
60 cars in 2 races, and to turn around and everybody drive back home.
That was fucking crazy.
And then I know 3, I know Dom and Sam. Then we all went home and then drove back out to go to Park Jefferson and shit.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the Thunder Through the Plains? Every fucking state you went to was a different rule.
Yeah. And can we not forget that the coldest day was 95 degrees with a real feel of 105?
Oh, yeah. Humid as fuck.
Yeah.
I lost 20-some pounds that year.
Yep.
JJ, do you have any psycho ones?
We need another Thunder Through the Plains. And
I was going to say, you guys might need to do July and August.
I need one starting now until fucking 2029 if I'm going to lose enough weight.
Yeah, Daryl, shoot, man.
Seriously.
A couple of years ago, me and my buddy Pat, we would get off of work Thursday every Thursday for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and we'd get off and go race in Montana. So we'd get off 4 or 5 o'clock, leave town, get to Montana at 9 or 10 in the morning, just kind of hang out around the car, sleep in the car wherever we were at, and then race Friday, race Saturday, and then drive back home and be home Sunday by like, noon or 1 o'clock and just be zombies on Sunday. And we did that for a full season in Montana. And then we were doing it down in California, kind of the same deal. And shoot, man, I'd drive till, 4 or 5 in the morning after racing. You're all amped up. You can go a long ways. And I remember I fell asleep. Like my buddy started driving, Pat. He was like my main man, went everywhere with me. And he started driving for, I don't know, no more than an hour. And I wake up and we're in the guardrail and we're totaled. And Pat fell asleep, and it's the only nice street vehicle I've ever owned in my life. I had like a 2015 like Subaru. It wasn't nothing trick, but it was like the newest, nicest car I've ever owned. And then took the insurance money and bought my little Nissan I got now, just another beater again. But yeah, man, those drives they definitely they're character building. Like it's always a good time. This year we went to Eagle with Matt, or to Cedar Lake with Matt Morrow, and we raced on Friday. And then Saturday it was like rain all day, and we didn't get the race in till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. We got back to Matt's place, I think 7 or 8 in the morning. I went straight from there to home, changed out my gear bag and stuff, and then hopped in my rig and went to Eagle that night to race with you guys with ASCS. And I wasn't much for chatting and hanging out that day either. I felt like a zombie all day, but I feel like you need a good set of smelling salts for weekends like that.
That's the thing I think people underestimate about like the
There's no
traveling
rest.
deal is
like 8
it's not the
hours is
work
what you
that
get
you're doing,
in
it's
like
that
a
you're
3-day
always
race
tired
weekend,
when you're
not what you
doing
get a
it.
night.
I think that's what. Yeah, I think people really underestimate that part of it. But that's pretty much everything we had from Charlotte. We kind of went off on a tangent there. Now we're going to focus more on Danny. And I have 2 questions that are really around your car owner. My first question is, when I first became aware of you, I started getting into sprint car racing, and I was buying used parts from your place. And when we go down there, we'd go to Lincoln and watch a show, or Williams Grove and watch a show. And at the time, you were in, I believe, the family 88 car. It was a blue car, a 358. And I remember watching you specifically because I just bought parts from you. And I thought you really, really stood out the night I saw you at Lincoln. I thought you were driving way harder than everyone else. But the way I remember the format, I think you finished like 8th. So I thought it would be very hard for you to stand out, just the way the format was in my memory. How did you actually get together with Gary Kaufman? Because I believe he was the first guy that gave you a real shot, right?
Yeah, so like when we ran 358, they handicapped the whole field. And there'd be like 42 cars there, and they would only run like 4 heats until they got to, I want to say like 44 cars, 45 cars. And you'd start like next to last, and 10th, 8th, whatever. And they only took 4 per heat race, and they had PB&As, and like it was so hard back in the day. You had to make shit happen. That's probably like what built me to where I'm at now. Because like you had to do some really dumb shit back then with a car that had like stupid wings on that were all set. You had like no downforce on the left rear. Like these are dumb. And probably when you were there, we were running non-down tube gamblers against
Yes.
everybody else with Maxim.
Yes.
So like there's my dad trying to be old school, probably running a 956 shock in the left rear, and it was terrible. It was really terrible. But like I think it kind of formed me to where you had to race hard no matter what or where. And then in 2009, my dad got a 410 for me, and we had a 12 head, and we won, I think, our first race in somewhere in May, maybe end of April, and was in a pickle because like we only had that one motor. And when I went to do motor maintenance on it, it actually had broke the crank. It was like he took the check and the crank was broken, full metal, pulled the crank out in 2 pieces actually, and borrowed a motor from Jerry Perry, so we got another motor, another 12 head, ran that. We won another race that year, and that was probably the race that I would have to say probably got me a ride. I remember I raced my ass off to beat Cody Dara in a lease over 89. He was much better than I was, but I think the way I used to have to race the 58, it allowed me to kind of make it work. You know, I mean, back then, their style race was so much better than ours. It was insane. And then they get into the flatter only, and we had to build from like absolutely nothing. We had a shot, but didn't have any tools.
I'm just looking at the top 5 from that night.
Hell
Danny
yeah.
Dietrich, Cody Dara, Chris Esch, Aaron Ott, and Brian Monteith. That's like a everybody's gone, but man, all those guys are all really, really good. That's an interesting top 5.
Yeah. Tons of fucking hitters.
If you probably asked Fred, he would probably say that I won because he dropped out.
So, how did Gary discover you? Like, or not discover you? Like, how did you and Gary get together?
So, you know, I went to school in Biggerville. His fruit market's in Biggerville. He knew my family, my brother-in-law, and my sister. Both had worked for him at one time at the fruit market. He went to school the same year as my mom. So he kind of knew the family. He wanted to start a race team. I thought he just wanted to sponsor a race team, which to me would have been cool. I actually went to his house to meet up with him about sponsorship. And he's like, well, what if I approached him like sponsorship, you know? He's like, well, what if we just build a race team? And I'm like, huh, okay. You know, I'm 20 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Like 20, I think it's 20, maybe 21. And I'm like, I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I'm driving race cars, running around on a stock rocket, chasing women, and he's trying to put me in a point off. You know what I mean? Like, it was, so even I ended up having to sell my stock rocket too. I realized I had a lot many ladies once all this shit went down.
So you said you got the opportunity to build this team when you really were young and hadn't really thought of doing it. What was a big mistake that you made, and what was a really smart thing that you did?
I would say probably the dumbest thing we did was we went and bought 3 used engines. Which is crazy to think we bought 3 used engines back then for $55,000. I think we could have bought a new one for $30,000. And we always look back, me and Gary both look back and think to ourselves, why the hell did we just buy 2 new motors to be done with? You know what I mean? We had a lot of problems that year, and we still won a couple of races. I think we won 3 races our first year. But, like, we had a lot of motor problems. We spent a lot of money on racing, and we had to spend a lot of money on, like, patching somebody's stuff back up that we bought. And we actually bought Doug X's engine, and I thought they were pretty good at the time. Don, I thought they were good, but I think Doug just ran the piss out of them so bad that it just used up, really.
And then what was the smart thing you guys did that maybe you lucked into or just made a good decision on?
I would say the best thing we did was, and it's probably more so for Gary, that we just stuck it out. Like, we went through some trying times, paid a crew chief. I went through some shit in my life that was probably pretty hard for him to keep me around. And I would say just sticking it out. You know, now you're looking back, like, we probably have, good, year here, then another year there. The first 5, I'd say the first 5 years, there was probably a good hard trying, like 16 months. But, like, looking back, like, I'm glad we got through it. I'm glad he allowed me to get through it, because your relationship I have with Gary now is, he's like a second father to me in a sense. Something I will never ever take for granted or would trade for the world.
Yeah, Sam and I were talking today, and I said this to Sam, and maybe one of you guys can tell me I'm wrong, but is there a high-level team that has been together longer than Danny and Gary Kaufman off the top of your head? Because I can't think of one.
I couldn't think of one.
I literally think they might be the longest tenured team that's raced at a high-level sprint car racing currently right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TSR and Donnie was the only other one.
Yeah.
I think wasn't Sweet. I thought maybe
Brad,
Sweet was with.
They were a long time, but now I consider that done with them. Like, it's right there. You're right there with them. I want to say Sweet started with Kane in like 2009 in the in the swing sprint cars. But you actually kind of got into my next question, which was, how have you and Gary built the relationship to this point where it seems like he really, really trusts you. Like, you're allowed to run some pretty independent schedules. He seems to give you a lot of freedom, but at the same time, you seem to really respect him. I know one thing Sam's kind of said to me is that he probably feels like you're hands-on enough that you've probably saved Gary money in areas that most drivers wouldn't. Could you kind of explain why your relationship is so good?
Yeah, I mean, just trust me. Just I'm hands on. I've gone through basically running I'm going to say running the finances. I might not pay the bills. Gary pays the bills, but in the sense, like, going after the sponsorships and, um, in my mind, like, we try and race this year. I shouldn't say we. I try and put a schedule together that we can make sure we A, make enough money, or B, doesn't cost a lot, and, like, I don't want to make Gary have to get more money out of his pocket than he already does. Like, he's already invested so much money, and he still invests. But, like, the years of spending, $200,000 to have this thing operating is, in my mind, that's not even a question. Like, that shouldn't even be in the situation anymore. So, like, when we go to Florida and, we'll go down there and we probably won't run a new tire the whole time we're there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Sam or some of you guys have seen, like, I'll get to put our AG Outlaw shows and come buy some fucking new tires from somebody. Like, I think I bought some new tires from Sam for the 360 last year. Like, we went down to the 360 deal down in Florida, even this past year, and I know it doesn't pay worth a shit unless you win. And we don't really go there we didn't have an engine that we thought was, as good as everyone else's. So, like, we went there, and the whole time we were there for 3 nights, we put one new right wheel on, which was on for Saturday night. So, like, I try and budget race and make sense of it. We joke around with, like, Gary hates the fact that I consider, like, starting and parking at some of, like, the bigger shows where, like, you're starting 20. Like, if he's not there, I can do whatever the hell I want. But, like, as soon as he's at the racetrack and he's looking at me and saying, "You go race your ass off," it's like, yeah. And then it usually works out. But, like, I come home from Florida this past year. First year Gary's ever went to Florida. And I looked at him and said, we fucked up. And he looked at me, why? And I said, well, we're starting between, whatever, 18th to 24th pretty much every night. If we did make the show, we struggled. I said, we shouldn't even be racing the whole feature. The year before, I think we started 16th to 20th every night. And I'm like, as hard as the blue is on engines and tires and all that stuff, and you're going to race up to 10th, maybe to make an extra, whatever it is, $800 or $600. Like, we go to Florida to have fun. I looked at him 8-10 years ago and said, I'm going to Florida because I get all the sponsorship money for the team. I'm going to go and have some fun and knock the rust off. That's pretty much why we go. Now, it has changed a little bit here the last couple of years, and about 2-3 years ago, we started going to Florida to get more serious about racing in Florida, and we've gotten worse. I don't know how that works. Maybe you can explain how that works. Or Dom, like you go somewhere and you're like, I'm going to take it more serious and do better than ever. We're not going to be out drinking till 3 a.m. We're going to, focus.
Sam and I have that with the Knoxville Nationals. In 2009, Sam and I were drunken morons. In 2011, we were drunken morons. And those are, like, the best nationals Sam's ever had. Locked into the A main, had decent finishes, and we were just idiots, for lack of a better. And then the years we take it serious, it doesn't go well.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Like, people laugh, but, like, we've gone to Knoxville, and, like, I quit going in 2022, or after 2022, I think it was, or 2021. We made the A main. We were the last car to lock in 16th, which is a feat for us because people don't realize I don't have hardly any laps at Knoxville other than going out for capitaning. I don't have any laps other than Cappy in Knoxville, right? So, like, we go out there and we're like, oh yeah, we made the A main, like, we got hammered pretty much the whole trip every night, like, probably shouldn't do. I probably shouldn't even tell everybody this, but I don't really care anymore. But, like, I'm the kind of guy that, like, I'm in 3 and 4 until like they tell you to get out, and then I go to the back gate where it's locked, and I sleep in the truck until they open the gate up out back to leave at like 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I would get pissed off at the cops for having the gate locked. Like, I want to leave. I quit drinking 2 hours ago. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, you're not, but I'm locked in here. And then you go and you make the A main, and then you get too tight, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna start taking it serious, and you get worse. You only make an A main. You don't even sniff an A main after that.
Yeah, that was the insane one for Sam and I. And for the record, even though we were being drunken idiots, we were still getting up at 8:30 every day and working on the car.
Hey, you all should try splitting the garage with Ripper in the 17.
Oh God, that's a.
We did that last year, 2024.
Oh, that sounds like a recipe there. Do you guys have any questions before I continue with him?
My only comment is I can remember having
I got
you. Oh, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay. My only comment was I can remember having drinks with you in 3 and 4 several times. And, like I look back now and when I traveled, and I wish I would have taken it a little more serious because like we went in our first year, we missed it by like 1 spot and in the B main. And then the next 2 years we made the show on Saturday. And I remember being so fucking hungover at the driver's meeting. And that's such a cool driver's meeting. Like the lock-in driver's meeting is so badass. And I remember thinking like, dude, why did I fucking stay out so late? Breakfast at Mr. C's before I went to bed. But I mean, that's just kind of what you did. And that's, that's just how it operates. And I don't know if I'd change anything now, but, I think back of like Tim Schaefer putting him to bed after he won a night at, I think it was like 360 Nationals, and having breakfast with Eric Prutzman after him and Brad won, after Saturday night. Like, so many cool memories, but fuck, I'm telling you what, 3 and 4 is not anything like what it used to be. I mean, it's so much more mellow now. It's crazy. Like from what it was, what it is.
So Danny, I've had Dom get on and explain why it's hard for California racers to come to Knoxville and do well. Pennsylvania drivers also struggle, and I think fans kind of go, why? Like, it's a big half mile. They race on big half miles all the time. Could you talk about the struggle? Yes. Could you explain what's hard about Knoxville for a Pennsylvania racer coming there for the first time?
Oh, well, I think I'm a firm believer in this. I think Knoxville is, I'm going to say it's the hardest racetrack in the whole country. I don't know how, like, the bottom race is like a freaking quarter mile. Because, like, on a quarter mile, if you're not against the tractor tires and touching them, then, you might not be in a grip. And, like, I feel like that's the infield at Knoxville. Like, if you're not perfect, you're just completely out of lunch. And then, like, if you don't know how to run the top at the right time and keep up with the racetrack, you're just absolutely screwed. I just think the guys in Pennsylvania, we don't race there enough. And it shows when guys like Brent Marks go there and they spend, 2 or 3 weekends there a year. Like when he took a couple years and he didn't run a series and he'd go out there and run a couple weekends, it showed. He ran way better, I just think that it's so important to get laps at that place. Like laps. It's like there's no bad laps. Even if you if your lap time is slow, you're learning so much. It's still not bad laps. Like you're getting seat time in Knoxville is so important. It's probably about like the same as like, and you guys probably agree with this, like going to Williams Grove, right? If you don't get laps at Williams Grove, like how do you see air? Right? Like you gotta be able to see air, like Dale Earnhardt would say at Williams Grove, because you can't follow somebody in the corner. So like I feel like I'm going to Knoxville and forget about the air thing. I'm not even to that point yet.
That's so funny that you say that, because all the time when I talk to people like, what's the hardest track you ever run? I'm like, I think Knoxville's probably the hardest one to race and like go like once it gets slick across and slippery. But just to go hot lap a sprint car, I always say Williams Grove is the toughest place. Like just the shape of it and kind of how you have to run it. Even when it's sticky, you can't run wide open through the middle. Whereas like Knoxville, when it's sticky, it's borderline simple and straightforward. Like Williams Grove's an interesting place. So it's just like they're just so unique and not like anything else.
Dude, I've never been scared in a sprint car in my life, except for that night I ran Williams Grove with the fucking All-Stars in the 21 car. Like, I genuinely was shitting fucking bricks. I'm like, the straightaway is way too long. Like, I could do my taxes on the fucking back straightaway. I mean, what the fuck? And then the corners are tight. Like, dude, I hated every second of it. I remember after we qualified, I told Jerry, I said, hey, Jerry, I will run the fuck out of this thing
And when you
anywhere
get
and
to the
everywhere.
bridge, it
Don't
does
give
like
a
a
shit,
big
but don't
little
ever bring me
sachet
back to
thing
this
that
fucking
just
place.
like,
Like,
dude, it's
I
an
am
unsettling
not built
place
for
when
this
you're not
shit.
used to it.
It
That's for
fucking
sure.
horrified me.
So I think what it is like all us Pennsylvania guys were some kind of a level of special because we need a straightaway to figure out what we're gonna do before we get to the corner. Where we go to these places that are round, we don't have time to think. What do you think, Sam? You think that's about right?
Man, when we talk about the
We don't
subject, I enjoy going to Williams Grove. I've always liked going. It's probably, I don't know, like, I'm not going to say it's my favorite track in PA, but how legendary it is, how unique it is. The days that I ran there, the track was really good a lot of the time. Like, it raced really good. Like,
like
the latter years.
2011?
Yeah. Like the latter years, like it didn't, obviously they had a pretty good race here recently, but the latter years, hadn't been as good. But I think, man, my belief with PA guys coming to race places like Knoxville, like I know when I go to PA, like the things we struggle on, I can roll pretty good at Williams Grove because I usually have like a cushion or something to grab, right? I can go to Lincoln and I maybe have a top to grab and I can roll pretty decent there. But like if we go to Port and it's glass, or we go to Sealands Grove and it's glass across, we're terrible. And all the PA guys are still good. And I think it's the opposite reason why guys, when they go to Knoxville from PA, that they might struggle some is that they don't see a track that has, the grip level at Knoxville is quite a bit more than what they see on a normal basis. So I feel like their race cars are more, set up for the type of tracks they race the most often. And I also think it's why a guy like Macri does okay. Marks does good now because they race a lot of other shit that most PA guys don't race. So that's my belief on it. And it's my belief why, like, okay, you could take Larson the first time he went out there on the slick shit. They were terrible. And he's the best race car driver in the country, and they were terrible. You give him time. Obviously, Paul figured stuff out, got him better. Same way with Rico. I think, those guys would go to Hagerstown and couldn't hit their ass at first, and you know how tough Hagerstown is to get a hold of. So I truly think that those guys really, I think I'm not even going to call it struggling. It's not like PA guys struggle when they go to race Knoxville. They're just not as good there as they are back home. And I think it's just grip levels and the cars demand different things, out in PA than they do out at the grip that they have at Knoxville.
The other comment you made to me a few years ago, and I'd like Danny's thoughts on that, is you feel like PA isn't as line dependent. Like a lot of times at Knoxville, there's like a really small line you have to hit. Whereas in PA, if you can get your car to roll through a corner and get grip before the other guy, it's not so line dependent. Is that a fair statement, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to like you said, like the stickiness that Knoxville has, the grip level that Knoxville has. Like when Knoxville's got grip, like it's fucking grip, right? Where like when it goes black, like this past year on Saturday, right? They push everything forward and we're out there in the B main for Saturday night and it got black slick. Oh my God, I could have put a 305 in and probably went as fast as some of them guys. You know what I mean? Like like the straightaways got so slick. Well, I think I was racing with Sam. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but like
you got us late. Yeah.
Yeah, we were backing up like a motherfucker.
But you can't, like, that was the same thing you said. Like, the grip level went away, though. But, like,
Yeah.
that's where you're not used to that. So, like, I thought we got better when that happened. But at the same time, like, it was, like, too little, too late. You know what I mean? Like, we're rolling there at the end before the caution comes out, I think there was. And then the caution comes out, and you're like, and then I'm back to where, like, I'm the Pennsylvania guy. I have no idea where to be on the racetrack on a restart when I can't even get off turn 4 and get out of the front stretch. Like,
Yeah,
You know,
we
like,
went from our prelim night was locked the fuck down, and then we went to that, and I was like, well, fuck, I ain't ready for this. Like we weren't expecting any of this. Like our race car was, I mean, trash, and the driver was trash. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in that situation.
Yeah, for context, they moved the race up earlier, and that made it almost like a daytime race for us.
right.
We'd done really well on. Yeah, like we'd run the prelim in grip and gone 10th to 6th, and then you took the grip away, and
real
shit, I
grip.
think we went 6th to 13.
But that's like going back to that Knoxville, like you said, like you're talking about, like Knoxville. Normally, when it has grip, it's like it's the infield's 6 feet wide where there's moisture, and somehow you got to get your like left rear on the berm, left rear on the berm. Like the good guys threw the edge off the left rear tire because they find a way to at least get half their right rear tread in that moisture and be good. We're like, if you're not really, really fucking good and your right rear sits in the slick, like,
Yeah.
man, you better have, like, it takes your whole level of good from like a margin this big to like your right foot better get you like this close to being good. You know what I mean? Like, and if you can't do that, like Sam, like you just drive across the track. Like you just full send flyer across the track because everybody knows that, like, okay, this guy missed the bottom, he's going across.
Well, you know what's fucking gnarly there is when you miss the bottom, you're going right. Like you're turning up to the cushion. You can't just slide across it. Like you gotta fucking drive to the cushion because the damn place gets so wide that when you miss it, you're stuck and you're 25 mile an hour slower than everybody else. Actually, we
So
saw
like
this year at the Nationals with Brian Brown.
we deal with it like at home. Like
Yeah.
you could like you could go in and completely blow through the curb, right? And just turn the freaking car and come off the bottom. Like, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Who cares? No big deal. As long as you don't get drove into, you're good.
Yeah.
You do that shit in Knoxville, you're gonna flip your dick off into the sign.
Yeah. Or like
Could you
when the bottom does get shit thrown up in the middle, and then you'll have a restart and you fucking blaze the middle and you blow by 3 guys and you're like, what the fuck was that? Then you go back to do it again the next lap and it's gone. Like
That's what I was gonna
it's
say.
unique, man. It's a unique place.
Danny, one thing Dom and I have noticed about your approach to racing, and I think we have different takes on it, so I'd like yours, is I'll notice you'll go like a month, usually early in the year, where you seem like you're struggling or you don't seem like you're as fast as you normally are. And sometimes I'll see you on Twitter, you're saying like you're trying things.
We're all trying shit.
Yeah, so my question is like what is your philosophy on that when you're not really tied to anything? What are your thoughts on like when are the races you choose to try things, and like kind of what's your thought process on that?
The big thing is, I mean, ask Dom how he struggles through the holes. I'm sure, like it's fucking tough. Like, just not built for these tracks that got holes or they're wet and heavy, and I definitely have a disadvantage when it comes to that, which is like one reason why we're not going back to Eldora. Like I'm tired of going there to kill myself going to the one. Like I feel like we get to this point in time where like we get first of all the racing's just for fun, realistically. And then like we come home and I mean like we're racing in February. Why in the fuck are we racing in February and February? I have no idea. Well, they're going to try and find 3 races in this year, and they might be snagging around. And only no one is off the racetrack. And I'm telling you, you'll be able to pick up the 16 2 guys in again. And then I wonder why we're even here to it's not my forte. Like I'm raced long enough to know like what my forte is, and when it's not even close to hitting, like I'm already like, okay, let's just make it to the rest of it. Like, and I feel like I got a pretty big gap there, window like that. But like some of these tracks, like you get to them and you're like, you're in left field here, you're in right field there, and you're like, and all these others. So like, let's just see tonight and not talk to anyone on the money out there.
I have more questions. Does anyone want to go anything or anything to add to that?
One thing I wanted to touch on was like when we did Thunder Through the Plains, I felt like if you could lay your results and my results on top of each other, like both a win, both had a couple podiums, like, and then both had some off nights. I was thrilled with my results because a lot of these places, I was new at, and you were brand new at. Like,
Yeah.
I always knew how good you were, but I was blown away. You went to like fucking short tracks that had big curbs, and you guys were badass. Like, I really thought that it was underplayed and understated, like how well you did at all those fucking different kinds of places. And it was just really cool for like me being a predominantly West Coast guy and you being a Pennsylvania guy to go race there. And it was like, we had very similar results on racetracks that were very outside of our wheelhouses.
I think I'll talk about the same thing you said before. Like you just said, like I feel like thinking back on it before, like people, I feel like what we did during 22 to 20, you and I, is low way over the up. You know what I mean? Like it's not appreciated enough. Like like I felt like we went there, we had to be tracks that like we didn't think we could have won running track to be honest with you, but we adapted really well. You know, and yeah, we didn't get wrong, but I'm like, I think our team is better in the foot class for a big kid, like as long as it's looking in the left way. Like one thing about Pennsylvania, we know how to build like left driving with all. And so like I feel like if I can get something to put my right wheel on, I think I'm pretty good at getting the car with that full drive and yeah, I feel like I can bang the boards down with the best of them as long as I'm a retail player, I'm comfortable. You gotta get comfortable. And we were definitely comfortable that week. And it was exciting to me too, because I mean, Bob, like you were going to racetracks you've never been to before. That makes me excited.
Yeah.
I mean, like knowing you're going to a racetrack that's not Williams Grove or Eldora in Knoxville, that's like every night we get somewhere, we got to stop. You know what I mean? Like, even though you got the really, really good freaking racetrack drivers, I felt like, okay, I got a fresh notebook to look at the paper. And so I got no bad habits. I'm going to race the race, go to the racetrack without saying, oh, I need this, I need that. I think that's when my team is Jake and I really we get our highest scores. I think we've gotten really good. We have just good enough in the notebook to kind of know the theme behind the racetrack, how we got to win. But like, we don't, our notebook isn't big enough to be like, it's like we do this. Or we can do that. We can, the other notebook, okay, here's our baseline, but we know that obviously change or this is change or that's change. And that was something like, okay, you just adapt. Journey night, you start, you just work on it instead of, like a lot of guys, I'm sure you see about that. Everybody sees it. You see guys tighten up throughout the night and it's like that change shot time. So I mean, like, you're wanting to be in the same shot time. And you think to yourself, why are you tightening up so much? We see people do it all the time. You might need to do a little here, a little there, but like you see guys cool, I don't know. So I think when we get outside of this area, and we can race these guys and go to track miles, that may both of that. But I don't know, so it's talking about emotions. Yeah, I think we get better.
So, Danny, I used to go to PA a couple times a year, and then once I got this job, I really haven't been to PA consistently. I hadn't been for about 5 or 6 years, and then I went to a Lincoln show probably 2 years ago with the World of Outlaws. And the thing that struck me as I walked through the pits before the race was I didn't see the mega haulers. I didn't see the mega teams I used to see in Central PA. Your Al Hamiltons, your Bob Weicherts, your, in a more recent time, Joe Haars, like those super and I was looking through the pits and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at them. I'm like, this is a lot of like mom and pop operations. These guys are going to get their asses kicked tonight. And then, of course, the PA guys went out and did what the PA guys did and ran phenomenal, but it made me just wonder, like, what's the state of PA racing right now? Are you happy with the state of current local racing? Do you think it's in trouble? Do you think it's in a good place? What are your thoughts on it?
I think Pennsylvania's probably in a little bit of trouble. Like these tracks are trying to work together is what I'm hearing to put a better schedule together for us and the race teams and pay bigger money. But like on the national level, I'm sure like the TV broadcasting has been really good for sponsors and owners and people who travel. But like to me around here, we've seen a lot of trouble. With local shows drawing crowds just too easy to go online and watch, or then you got the other half that, they don't have it online, they don't want to go short, they don't want to even support a regular week show. There's like a lot of mixed emotions there, when it comes to that. But definitely ever since we've had Flow or Dirt Vision or whatever it may be that was like a subscription based, the track hurt for a weekly show, which, EA, in my opinion, has definitely branded itself around weekly racing, which we need pretty badly. So I don't know, I'd like to see some change, and hopefully things for the good. Seems like a lot of times we make change and it's not for the good. I think we've all seen that. And we just got to make sure we keep people going to the races. I think it's so important right now that we do that to keep owners involved. Owners want to be a part of things, big sponsors involved. We're in a very good area as far as having businesses want to support sprint cars and racing. And I think there's ways to do that, but it's just so hard nowadays. And the mom and pops, the guys where they're racing with the dad and the mom, definitely seem to be more and more. There's just not that many big teams anymore. And there's really way less teams that want to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like Anthony Mackie, he's still racing for his dad.
Yeah.
He might be a big deal, but could he race become I don't know. You watch him race out of the car and not have nowhere near the success. So there's not many super teams, let's just say. There's only a couple.
So the other question I have is, it always seems like there's a guy in PA that flies under the radar, and then just one night he goes and beats the Outlaws or wins a big race. Right now, if you had to pick a guy that's flying under the national radar that we're all underestimating, do you have anyone in mind from PA right now?
I'd say not yet, not under the radar. I think Chase is already on the radar. Like, if Chase wouldn't have won an Outlaw show at the Grove, I would say he'd be an excellent up kind of guy. As far as on national level, I just don't think that there's anyone quite there yet. I think a lot of people on the national level, I think you're going to leave PA and go run good. Right? I just don't think there's anybody at Pennsylvania that could either leave here and go somewhere and just be really good. I just don't.
So I have one last question before we start talking shit. I don't know if anyone else wants to add any questions. My last question is PA used to be undeniably the toughest local scene.
Yeah.
The last few years, California's really, really stepped up. So maybe we can get something going between Dom and Danny here. Who's the toughest local scene right now? Is it PA, or is it California, or is it someone else we're not thinking of?
And I genuinely think right now, Knoxville is the toughest local scene. Like, with how things played out this year, there's definitely good guys, capable guys in California. There's definitely good, capable guys in Pennsylvania. Ohio's got great guys. But man, I just feel
Both
like
of
the
'em.
Knoxville groups, like, again, that place is so hard to be good at. But like, when you look at fucking Brown, and for the majority of the year, Madsen was a local. McCarl's really good there. Axum ran there a lot. Tim's
was okay.
the local. Yeah, Tim, and he won the fucking nationals.
And I think one thing's
the
like,
Tusky
if you're going
50
to race
Massachusetts
locally, even at
Championship,
all
like,
the prestigious
I really
tracks in
genuinely,
PA,
I think
you're
that
going to
if
get
there was an
30,
area
40
that was,
races
like,
in. Knoxville's got,
fucking lights out
between
locals
15
right
and
now,
20
I think
local
it's
shows a
Knoxville.
year. So, like, to win, kind of like what Dom's saying, I don't know if it's necessarily harder per race, but there's so many less races, and every race has, I would say, on an average of one or two invaders that are there to win the race. So it's definitely a different dynamic. Like you could go to PA and win at one of those badass racetracks, and it's still against a slightly split up field, or I don't know how exactly it works, but I know Saturdays are split up, and like Friday night you got to earn it at the Grove. But like, just in general, it seems like they have a lot more opportunities in PA, which is, I think, kind of why those guys get a lot better out there too. I mean, they race 4 times more a year.
Well, like, my counterpoint to Dom would be, like, I feel like the 10th place guy in California and PA, like the 10th best guy,
Right. No.
If he pulls off a win against the Outlaws when they come to town, no one's shocked. I don't think the 10th place guy in Knoxville points pulls off I don't even
Really?
think they can pull off a win against the Outlaws. So I would definitely lean towards PA and California being tougher.
I think
Yeah.
California blows everybody away, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
Right.
California is a different type of racing. I think they're in the same boat that you're saying, Daryl. I think California's got 5 guys. Yeah, you got to think like Justin
Golovic.
Sanders would be like the Anthony
Right.
Macri. You know what I mean? Dominic would be like me. I would honestly have to sit there and look back and think, back through the field, like, okay, does Freddie have a better shot, than somebody out in California? What about Troy Waldman or Lennox Louise? Like, I think it's pretty split. I think if you had to ask me this, it would change every year. Like, I think this year, Pennsylvania had the better odds of winning local shows over California.
And it's so yin and
depth
yang,
goes a
like
little
just talking
farther.
about it, like the
But
driving
now,
styles,
if
like
go back
your
a couple
guys'
years,
old timer that holds it
Pennsylvania
down
was
is
pretty
Lance
bad.
DeWeese. Like
If you went back
California's
like
is
2 or 3
Andy
years, I think
Forsberg. Like
it was even
those two
worse
guys
in
couldn't be
Pennsylvania
more
than it is now.
opposite in the it's just a crazy, the styles couldn't be more different. Like it's really hard to compare. Like, and I do think that I mean it's either one, like Daryl said, I think either one of those guys winning an outlaw show is less surprising than probably 5 through 10 at Knoxville. Mariah Eid ran
Like, we're
5th.
looking at the NARC points right now.
Yeah, I guess who's 10th.
Yeah, well, but that's a hard one because only 3 guys ran the whole series. Like, I ran half the races, and like I would say that Shane is. Yeah, I would say that Shane Golovic is one of the top guys.
Right.
I mean, me not so much this year, but I think over the last handful of years. And then you got guys that aren't on the list. So like Sanders isn't even. Oh, Sanders is, I guess he's 7th. He's the best guy in California right now. But then Tanner Holmes ran a lot out down here, was really good. Tanner Carrick. There are a lot of really good guys that kind of pop in and out, but I think guys have their
Dominic,
styles
you gonna
out here,
cash
which
in on
I
that
guess is kind
NARC
of the same
charter
thing in
next year?
Pennsylvania. Like, if the track's slick, I mean, there's guys that are
Your
gonna be good at
aggregate
home.
for the
If the
2
track's
years
wet,
is
there's guys
still
that are gonna be
solid.
good at
You're
home.
in.
So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna get right on that. Yeah, I'm in.
So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
all our regular
Sure, that was
questions,
tough.
unless you guys have anything you want to add. I did actually remember to tell Danny to come up with something he wants to talk shit about.
What's your drink
Danny,
of
were you
choice in
able to come
Florida
up with something
besides
you wanted to talk
beer?
shit about?
I didn't think about nothing, man. When I was in Florida, I was honestly not
It's all
even
your crew
thinking about
guys.
Okay.
drinking. It's
Then
the wonder I didn't start was going on.
I guess
I don't hardly ever drink beer. That's where everybody gets the wrong perception from me. I hate beer. I do love it. If you get an old fashioned, it's gotta have the right cherries in it, the filthy cherries. And it's gotta be with honestly, Maker's 46 French oak is the best bourbon you can put in an old fashioned, in my opinion. The French oak is awesome. And then I like to wake up, I like to start my day with a Irish coffee with Jameson and Bailey, and about starting the breakfast, I'm gonna have a tequila sunrise, something with tequila. And then during the day, we're probably gonna drink vodka and Sprite. And then dinner time, we're gonna go to old fashioned. So it's like, yeah, my stomach's usually full up by the end of the day.
so. You didn't come up with the topic, but a couple weeks ago you had everyone really talking, and that's something we can probably go into for talking shit. You were not really happy with a lot of the proposed rules package for next year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, but the one's really fucking dumb.
Go on. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so we got a rule where we're gonna have the fuel tank stay on, and I get that, right? But I don't know if he doesn't realize this, but some of us have our seat all the way back against the fuel tank, and putting the mounts in there is a pain in the ass. Dom gets it. You got to get that steering wheel to clear your fucking stomach. You know what I mean? You push the seat all the way back. Next thing you know, there's no room between it. your seat's hitting the freaking fuel tank spinning, your pickup line, you know? It's like, you guys wanted to put brackets in there, hold the tank on, and then you can't even tell if it's mounted in there correctly.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to put a tether on the top of the tank. That's not allowed. But this is all after the fact that, like, when I crashed, I'll be damned if I want the fuel tank to freaking catch fire on the car. Like,
Yeah,
like that's some big fly off.
this is the argument I've heard is, will drivers sign up and accept the danger and fans don't? But I have the view of like Nicky Lotto, which was, you accept there's danger, but not unnecessary danger. And I feel like leaving the fuel tank to barbecue you is unnecessary danger.
Like, here's my thing. What's going to happen is somebody's going to get in a crash, right? And let's face it, they're under discretion however they want their mount to be. It's got to be, it's got to pass their safety, whatever. Well, what happens when a fuel tank gets ruptured through the bladder? There's a hard enough crash.
Yeah.
Guy burns the fuck up
Fucking.
with full of fuel, and they don't have the stuff to put it in.
It's gonna
You're gonna end up with a lawsuit.
after the
because
fire
they
bottle
do.
didn't go off.
But the fireball ain't gonna be shit with 28-gallon fuel.
Agreed.
20, even 15 to 20-gallon fuel. Like, you get that tank full and you pump your hole and everything, it does light up. Like, you got, like, they're still worrying about fuel tanks. Well, maybe we should get roadies that don't throw sparks all over the racetrack. Like, I need to do that.
So I really don't know the answer to it, but fire scares the fuck out of me. I've had second and third degree burns down both my legs. Had to do all but skin grafting, and I mean, I'm telling you right now, it's the worst fucking pain I've experienced in my life. Watching Macedo's crash a few years ago, I genuinely was in tears watching it just because I thought he was dead, especially for my brother's reaction. It's scary shit, and it's something that can't be taken lightly. But on the other side of it, I do see why, they want to keep them on the race cars, because the first thought that comes to my head is, we've seen these tanks fly off and they're full of fuel. God forbid, and I didn't want to talk this into the atmosphere, but God forbid that lands on a baby or lands on someone's kid or wife or something like that. I mean, that's honestly worse. Like, I'd rather it be me get burned up than some poor innocent fan or kid get hurt. But to me, there's just got to be a better way. Why we don't have like a titanium plate underneath the thing? Why we don't have something else going on? And I think really, and Danny, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think part of our problem, why are we not bumping the fucking weight rule up? Why are we not bumping these weight rules to where we can we can put some safety stuff and we don't worry about being obsolete?
Yeah, I'm definitely with that. Cause, like, I'd be sick that, couldn't be done just for the weight. On the safety side of things. Like, I don't want to run or, what I have to do because of, as you said, you got to be safe. Like, such a big deal. Like, like, it comes down to the fact that, like, I think that you go to these fuel tank companies, and how many times you got to put a fuel tank on, you put the bottom 2 bolts in, and if you don't put a spacer between the shell and the frame, like, you're already pulling the insert out of the tank.
Yes.
The tank thing. You're really pulling the tank apart, and you're putting the bolts in, tightening it down. So, like, maybe when you look at, like, I said, how are they made? When you address how we mount them, like, all of you occurs to having clamps that go in and make you tight in the tank, not already trying to lift them at them, right? Like, to me, I feel like I can go in to old Tommy B's office and teach him probably way more than he is. I don't think he could even know, because I grew up in football racing. I've never done anything else. So, like, I think that start with, why are they flying off to begin with? Well, look at the mount. You don't see fuel tanks fly off many good cars. Like, good, I'm like talking about, I'm not good cars. I said that wrong, but, like, you don't see them fly off what you want in this car. You're not going to see it fly. I flip my ass off. I've never had tank come off. I've never seen one come off Germany's car with Matthew.
Yep.
I just feel like if you mount them correctly, they're not going to fly. Like, I think ATL has a problem with their mount. that was one of the things. I'm not going to sit there and say Casey team don't manage their tanks right because they always do all right. But when they switched and Casey went to the field safe style their own tanks, whatever they had, all of a sudden Casey's tanks didn't fly.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, the force on the mount, the full mount that you got, and say, okay, well, if you flip hard enough, it's going to come up. That's okay. But it can't be like a cannonball. It can't already be ready to leave the car.
Yeah.
When the car starts flipping. You can't have a Bill Baylon deal from Eldora. You know, like, how hard would it be to go around and make sure somebody
all the time. The inserts are always fucked.
Like basically, we've all put a tank on the car because they don't come check it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that insert's fucked." You know what? It'll be good to pick up more.
And that's the other. That's another one of my issues with these deals is every solution they come up with always costs the teams, and they never, ever, ever hold the manufacturers to a higher standard. They never tell the manufacturers, hey, redesign this, hey, do that. They just drop it on, hey, here's this thing you're going to have to do as a team now and spend more money.
Well, it makes you not want to race. I don't know how you guys feel, but like sometimes it gets to the point where like, okay, Dom and I, we're going to, I'm going to go to Eldora, and I'm going to be 60 pounds heavier than everybody else. Well, you realize how big of a deficit that is? Like, especially when your weight's high, like we're high, they're big guys, it's above the center line. Like, it changes the whole attitude of your car. B, it throws you down. You got to drag it on.
Have you ever considered being smaller?
I know for a fact, I can't run the same view.
Have you ever considered being smaller?
I need you to get the goddamn thing out the cannon.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's crazy to think break the city. What's that?
JJ.
A lot of time.
But that is the main problem. Like, this was a manufacturer problem. You know, they had basically one instance where, not one instance, but there's one manufacturer that continued to have the problem time and time and time and time again. And we start, oh, well, now we're going to add these whatever the fuck you want to call them, other mounts to it. And the other manufacturer didn't have this problem. Like, that's the whole deal that really pisses me off. It's like, it is such a manufacturer problem. And like, most of the time, these guys that make these rules, they are not knowledgeable enough about what we do on a regular day basis. Like, these guys aren't putting cars together. They're not seeing our car before the crash, after the crash. They might see the broken part after the crash, but they don't like, and I don't even want to single out Tom. I don't. It's everybody that's been a part of any of these rules that we've made. It's asinine that we've even got to the point we are, like, I think the tethers have been a waste of time. I think there's so many things that have been a waste. I really do. I think, the fire bottle, I hoped some good out of that. I really did. And then they do the deal where they're good for 2 years, and then to re-up them, you might as well just buy another fucking fire bottle. Like, it ends up costing the team so much money. The fuel tank mount thing, I think, is like, okay, I'm a 360 guy. They're not going to put that in effect to what we do for quite a while. But I like to go run 410 races. So I still have to prepare my car to go race, with the Outlaws or whoever. And I don't need that when I run 360 races. But why? Okay, so if this rule's so fucking important, why is it important at that level, but it's not important for all these other guys racing? So, you don't think a 360 guy's going to throw a fucking tank into the stands? I mean, he has just the same ability to do it as a 410 guy would. I don't know. It bothers me quite a bit that we go to these extreme lengths to do all this stuff. And they're really, honestly, when we do this stuff, there's not enough talk with the racers themselves or the teams themselves before we make these decisions. That's the biggest problem.
Does anyone have anything to add?
Well, I think like going back on like what Sam said, yeah, I 100% agree. Like I don't understand why we don't have more
Exactly.
teams at a safety meeting, or whatever you want to call it in Knoxville. Like the fact that it's limited, and the fact that they don't want to invite certain teams or not certain teams, but certain people and certain chassis manufacturers. Like it's definitely a biased opinion.
I don't
mean,
even
it's like a highway.
I don't even know why the safety council is anyone but drivers and teams.
But yeah, we'll go to a racetrack that, like, honestly, let's think about Williams Road. You can go out turn 1 and 2 and just flip for about 100 feet
Yeah.
or 200 feet.
Or turn 4. How
I'm
many
not worried
guys have
about
we
that.
seen launched out of turn 4? And that's the
But
slow
we're
part
worried
of the
about
track.
but we're worried about so we're worried about a bridge that hasn't been hit in 30 years, right? But we got Zach Hampton flipping out over the ballpark 2 nights in a row. We're not worried about a catch fence.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not picking on the Grove, I'm not picking on Zach, but like, when are we ever gonna worry about a racetrack? That's why I said, like, wait till the one time the fuel tank is stuck on a race car because it was how they wanted it, catches fire, burns the guy up, man over the lawsuit. It would be worse. It would have a worse of all these if a person gets burnt and lit for it and has to go through the misery than the other way.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying for a long time, like, if the racetracks were held to the same standards that the race teams were held to, and if they had to do the work during the week that we have to do, we wouldn't go to a lot of these places anymore. But unfortunately, like I had this conversation with somebody the other day about, some racetracks out here. And it's like, why do we want to go to a place that off the bat puts us in a bad position? Like, we know it's unsafe. We know that it's a problem waiting to happen. Why don't we just not go? I don't know. Like, I think that's pretty fucking logical. But again, yeah, and it could be a thing about not enough racetracks, but I just think that I don't know, it's way worse for our sport when somebody dies, because that's the only publicity we get nationally is when you fucking kill somebody. So what if we just, double down and try and not kill anybody from going to a shithole? I think that's important, or an unsafe place. Because, like, I'll say this: when Jason Johnson died, that's not a shithole. That place is not a dump, but it was incredibly unsafe. I mean, why we had a trip wall with I-beam and poles on what were they called, billboards right on the next side of the corner. I don't know, like, that was the first thing that you just look at and you're like, fuck, that's stupid, but they did.
Hey, you guys remember when we went to Red Dirt during Thunder Through the Plains? Eric Walls made them cut them poles down out back and said, if you slipped and landed on, kill you.
Yeah.
Remember, he made them do. I think you had to cut them down because they stuck up really high, right?
Yep.
What were we, Sam, at Hobstadt when Jeff Swindell flipped up and impaled the car on the catch fence? Yeah, like rip.
You could see
the
where
whole arm guard off.
where it went through the car. I don't know how I didn't hit. I don't know how I didn't stab him.
Yeah.
If
Hey,
we
I
can
got-
put
I
up
got-
a
I got
scaffolding
one.
for lights, like there's a light
is
show
what I
over
wanna
there,
see.
put a sunscreen there.
Can we put a sunscreen up at Knoxville going into turn 3?
Yeah.
Can we please put one up? Can we put one up? I'm really wanting it. Yes. Hey,
Like at a
we've done
baseball
lots
game.
of improvements,
Yeah,
and I love the
yes.
place.
No more tower. Just build another tower.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, something. I mean,
The
I
Marshalls
told
have
him,
done
I said, why don't we put one of them big ass, like, them big ass, I don't know, what do they have, like Top Golf has in big nets, and then just put something there,
It's a
like a
nightmare.
shade type deal. And then, you know
I
what,
would
fuck,
rather
put
do
some
like-
banners there.
If you had like 3 nets, that'd probably be dumb. It would dim it down just enough.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much. I'm
How
telling
many
you,
times-
it is the worst fucking thing to do.
You can't
hot
see in
laps.
hot laps. I mean,
Grove
yeah.
is as bad.
Is
Grove is just as bad as number 3.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh! Like I've even talked to John about it. I was like, John. He goes, yeah, Kerry Matson says it's really hard to see. It's like, cause it fucking
Everybody
is.
does.
It is hard to see.
When they put the new video board up, they should have moved it over a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
How many times have you guys qualified there like this? Like fucking, all right, where's the infield at? All right, fucking now turn.
Oh, I've hit it several times.
Yeah.
I've tried to hit the bottom going into 3, and I'm not good with sunlight in my eyes, so maybe other guys are better than me, but man, I would definitely benefit from a
You
nice,
have to wear sunglasses.
yeah,
You have to wear
nice
sunglasses.
yeah, I'm gonna have to do something.
You got to get some some slick back viper venom. What are they? Viper venom? What are they called?
Down with the fire bottle.
Not viper
Yeah,
venom, but the viper
The
one.
weight rule, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not against it. If you could raise the weight rule and make everything safer,
Well,
I'm not,
Is that enough?
make the
ranting
goddamn
and
fuel
raving
cell
for everyone?
indestructible
Are we
like an
good?
armadillo. That'd
JJ's
be
got to
great.
have something.
JJ wants them to raise the weight rule.
Well, thanks for doing this, Danny. Thanks for doing this, guys, and we'll talk to you later.